Abusive brother-in-law wants to treat me like his babysitter, and my husband won't stand up to his own brother. This story gets increasingly worse as abuse starts to take over. I'm Shannon, 33 female, and have been married to my husband Tony for 13 years. We have a daughter, Janelle, and it's been a very rocky 13 years because of Tony, his brother Miles, and family. Let me give you the full little background. In 2020, Miles diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, and the family has done nothing but enable it. He started arguing with Janelle while she was talking to his mother, her grandma. I came out of the room because I heard it in the hallway, and he was literally facing down. A 6'2" man facing a 10-year-old girl, threatening to put his hands on her because she, quote, talked back to him. I stood between him and told him he's not going to put one finger on anyone. His mother tried to quiet him and get him out of the house, while Tony's sitting outside on the porch, listening to everything that's happening. I asked Tony why he did not do anything, and he said his mother had it under control. I was seething, and I could not believe it. A month later, Miles comes with his daughter Jessica, who's 6 years old. I'm in the shower and I hear him arguing with my daughter, saying, quote, "I'ma put my hands on you. Your father and mother can't do anything about it." I immediately came out of the shower, but he was gone and Jessica was there. I told Janelle to put her clothes on, we're leaving the house. Called my husband and told him we're leaving and Jessica's in the house. Miles returns and sees us waiting outside for an Uber. He starts berating us to top of his lungs, calling us all kinds of names. We quickly went into the Uber when it came, and he came up to the Uber and punched the window on the side as I was sitting, telling us to go. I called the police when I arrived at my parents' place. They took my statement, gave me a report, then left. I heard he was harassing people in the streets after we left, berating them the exact same way. I told my husband that Miles needs to be taken to the hospital or else he'll have to be ended up in jail, or maybe worse. He told his parents and they did nothing. Instead, had him where they were working, quote, watching him. He saw my husband come and Miles then slipped away from them and came to the house. After things escalated drastically, the police was called and he was hauled off to jail. It's now 2022. I've not seen any of them, Miles and family, since the incident. My husband's birth family has been trying to get us to be around them when we'd rather swallow hot coals. Mother's Day, he asked my husband if he can bring Jessica to see Janelle, out of the blue. I almost choked because of the audacity and said absolutely not. Told my husband that no one has apologized or atoned for anything, including him. Jessica told me in 2020 that her father, etc., told her not to trust me and I don't love her. It hurt her because she said she told me that I do love her. I've had her since she was a baby, on and off. How could I not love her? I also told him that in the future, his mother can bring her by when he's ready. A week later, when I went to the store 2 blocks away, Janelle's grandfather brings Jessica and Miles over. Her grandpa usually knocks on the door, and she goes out to greet him. But this time, Miles and Jessica was at the door. She had a panic attack while Miles, quote, apologized for his past behavior and tried to give her a hug. Janelle said she was sick to her stomach and backed up. Jessica, however, came in and spoke for a few minutes with her. My daughter called me immediately after in a panic state, telling me what happened. The way my heart dropped into my toes and rolled around. Well, it took me less than 5 minutes to be back home. Once again, I called my husband and told him what happened, then had him put an extra bolt on the door. So, let's focus on today. Today, my husband calls me and asks if Jessica can stay for a few hours. I said no. You have to give me a bigger heads up. She can come by next Saturday. About an hour and a half later, we, Janelle and I, hear a knock on the door. I checked by the window and see Jessica and her father. Now I'm confused because I definitely said next Saturday, plus I don't want Miles here for obvious reasons. They leave after a while, then my husband comes home while I'm home once again in the shower. I hear a little voice after I turn the water off, and who's in the kitchen? Jessica. I told her, "Hi, baby. You can come next Saturday. We're going to have a fun day." All while Tony was ushering her out the door. I asked Janelle how she got in here, and she said Tony brought her inside. Well, while my husband was leaving, I told him to make sure the doors are locked because I don't want anyone coming in here. He said nobody's trying to come in here, and I mentioned his brother knocking at the door. Clearly, he had no idea. Then said his brother was leaving Jessica with him. Well, impossible because he was at work. He's staring at me intensely, and I asked if there was a problem. He starts shouting at me, saying I'm being stupid because I don't want Jessica to come over and that I'm holding on to the past. He's making it seem as if I just don't want her to come over, and I then proceed to bump his chest into mine, still naked, fresh out of the shower. I tell him to stop before I call my brother. He tells me to call him, knowing he'll do absolutely nothing if my brother were to show up. And then he continues harassing me. I told him, if he touches me, I'm going to call the police. He said call them, for what then he proceeded to poke me, giving passive aggressiveness, trying to egg me on into retaliation. I continued to tell him to leave. He has to go back to work, and well, he finally left. My mother thinks I should drop it and just let Jessica come over whenever, when I know they just want a free babysitter. Plus, I don't want to deal with these issues anymore. So here's a small update before we jump into the next story. Janelle and I have taken some of our things and we're currently staying with a friend since we live in New York City. We left after he went to work today. I'm open to options and looking into the best next steps from here. My daughter is very intelligent. She knows that what his family is doing is wrong and is very outspoken when it comes to them, which they don't like. Thank you so much for your responses. I'm overwhelmed in the best way possible. Thank you for validating that I was not overreacting and actually abused on levels I didn't even consider, especially from my husband. So I saw a comment that I really agreed with, and basically it's my opinion too. OP replied to it, and here it is. Why are you even with your husband? Get the hell out of there and take your daughter. Is this what you want for your daughter? Is this the kind of relationship you want her to have in the future? Because this is what you're showing her and saying it's okay. Leave ASAP. Here's OP replying. I want to leave him, but he knows I can't because of my finances. Shake my head. I don't want this for my daughter, and I talk to her every day concerning this type of behavior. Guys, I need to know your opinion. What would you do if you were stuck in this position? OP knows that she's in an abusive relationship, but she doesn't want to get away because she thinks that she just can't handle it financially. If you were in her shoes and you had a little bit of advice you could say, drop it in the comment section and let's discuss it. The final story of the video that we're going to look at, it's an entitled grandma story, with an entitled grandpa to go along with it. Entitled grandma and grandpa think they should be treated like a king and queen. Let's see what happens. A bit of a backstory. I'm 12 years old, and I live in a small town in Bulgaria, and my parents own a restaurant there, which is the only restaurant that works every day. My mom works as a waiter there every day and night, with only a few days off in the work weeks, since she works only days most of the time. Sorry if my English is bad, it's my second language, and sorry for bad wording and horrible storytelling. Okay, now to the story. This happened today, the day of posting, and it was my grandma's birthday. I was at home on my computer when I saw that it was already 1 p.m. I decided to go eat at my parents' restaurant because for breakfast, I ate some leftover grapes from yesterday. I quietly exit my apartment because my dad was still sleeping. My mom and dad stayed up until 4 a.m. in the restaurant. When I got there, I saw that it was full with people, only employees' table, which is a table where employees, me, my mom, and my dad, and the other friends sit. And 3 or 4 tables were empty, so I sat down and I know what will happen. When the restaurant's full, I can't order until it's empty, so I get ready to not eat for an hour and wait. I'm just sitting when an elderly couple, Entitled Grandma and Entitled Grandpa, and their guest is my son. Sons 1 and 2 and 3 sit down. At first, I don't mind, they can stay as long as they want. I'm just hoping that the work in the kitchen will be little so I can order. I knew there was a lot of orders because a lot of people order for takeout, and my mom told me that their order will be ready in an hour. It usually takes 39 minutes. Anyways, at one point, Entitled Grandpa comes next to the table I'm sitting at and looks at the speaker. Then he looks around more of the walls and says, "I don't think that's a speaker. There's no button." And I thought, oh, this guy wants to know where the speakers are. A few minutes passed and this happened. Entitled Grandpa, "Excuse me, can you clean the table? We're finished." My mom and a guy who I'll call Mark were waiters that day, and we only have 2 cooks and 2 waiters per shift. Mom says, "Sorry, sir, but as you can see, the restaurant's full. I will clean your table when I can." Entitled Grandpa says, "Well, that's not all we want to order. We want to order another soup." Mom says, "I'll take your order in a few minutes," and Mom took some of their empty beer bottles. After that, he stands up with 2 empty bowls, puts them on the counter. A few minutes later, this happens. Entitled Grandpa says, "Excuse me, can you turn the volume down?" Mark replies, "Yes, I'll just wait a bit, there are a lot of people." Entitled Grandpa, "I don't care, do it now." And after that, I hear them talking to each other. Entitled Grandpa says, "Have a lot of work, I see them standing behind the counter not doing anything." Which is a lie. They haven't even standed in that place for more than a minute. I know their tricks, and this is when the grandmother says, "Yeah, we came here before and we didn't like it, and it's the same." By the way, I've never seen them here. I thought to myself, I should go and tell them that they are acting like kids and that my mom hasn't had a day off for weeks. And all I ate today were some grapes, and that I wait every day for the restaurant to not be full just to eat, and that he should patiently just wait. But remember, I'm 12 years old. He would say something like, "And what do you know? You're just a kid." Or he could hit me, which would result in a scandal. Then I heard them say something like they're traveling and, quote, "Our kids in Sofia are waiting for us." Sofia is the capital of Bulgaria. After that, my grandma texted me what I'm doing, and I told her I'm waiting to eat. She told me that if I want, I can go to her house and eat, so I said okay. Side note, for a 12-year-old, I have a lot of common knowledge that my parents taught me. I started school a year earlier, so I can be with an awesome teacher. And I was the youngest in my class until 5th grade, where a kid was born a few days after me the same year. And as one of the youngest, I'm one of the smartest. Side note 2. If you think Mom and Mark were bad, they were running from table to table. They were writing orders on paper and just can't help everyone at the same time. But they try their best to take everyone's orders. Okay, let's just say for a 12-year-old, I think OP was very smart, and here's a comment that kind of says what I just said, but in a different way. You are an incredible writer, especially for a 12-year-old, and super especially for English being your second language. Don't apologize for your English ever again. Yours is better than many native speakers I know. You sound very patient and well-mannered. Whoever has been raising you has done a wonderful job. And I mean wonderful. Don't let rude customers get into your skin. I know it must be hard to hear people being disrespectful to your family, but it truly reflects upon the rude people, not on the subject of their rudeness. I'm ashamed to admit that I know next to nothing about Bulgaria. Is the primary language there Bulgarian or something different? English is a tough language. Keep at it, OP. So guys, it seems like mostly all the comments I could see were in support of OP and just saying, hey, you're 12, you're going to see a lot of entitled people. You're already handling it pretty good, so keep at it. Alright, that's all the stories for today. Let me know your opinions on this one. Drop them in the comment section. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel. I now have the 3rd channel launched. You can find all my channels in the description below. The newest channel has daily videos, and it's Mr. Reddito Office Dramas, and you'll be surprised at some of the crazy stories that come out of that channel. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.